Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the YouTube live session of today. And we have the topic of commodities and currency this time. I'm sure that many of these, commodity and currency traders would be happy that we have finally come out with a YouTube live session apart from something on equity. So, friends, prior to jumping on to commodity and currency updates, and which is quite interesting as well to us, because it's very important to have diversification in trading as well, rather than just in this using this concept of diversification in investments, right? So I think that currency, commodities, and equities, a blend of all, helps you out to, in fact, earn good, and also remain a bit hedged, because and there is always a momentum, as you also get a feeling of, as if you are trading like a hedge fund. So when you get that feeling that you're not trading as a hedge fund, wherein you're long on gold, or long on silver, short on Nifty, maybe short on USD INR, or long on USD INR, that would really help you out. And secondly, if you're trading in currency market, friends, first, and I would also like to say that it's open till 5 p.m. and generally what happens is market gets over by 3.330. So maybe if at all there is any momentum or movement in the global markets post 330, is always reflected in the currency markets. You get to hedge out there as well. And of course you have gold and silver till late night, if you are going to hedge in bullions maybe, or interestingly some other metals. So we are going to have, we have planned something like that. This is just the first interaction via YouTube with you on commodities, and obviously we're not going to have an extended one today. It's just a start of this commodity sessions as well. We have planned to keep it on commodity and currency restricted to gold, silver, crude oil, right, and USD INR. These four things is what I'm going to cover today quite in detail, and as much as I can. And in the next session we'll again try to get back to you on commodities, currencies. It doesn't mean that we will not provide you an update on equities when we are doing such sessions on commodity currencies. So I'll provide you the updates on the equities as well, equity indices mainly. If at all there is some time maybe going forward, then we can take up the Q&A as well. But then few such sessions on commodities and currencies are also important. So gold, silver, USD INR, crude, the four main important, or highest highly traded, I would say, asset class, basically, apart from equities, is what I'm going to cover. And I see mainly, I've been into the industry for more than 12 years now, so I know the interest of the market participants as well. And I know that these are the highly four things, apart from highly traded four things, apart from equities, wherein people are interested in. Let me first start with the gold. Okay, now in gold, friends, if you see, then COMEX, the dollar terms is very important. So we have to actually, what I'm going to actually give you the levels today is going to be first the COMEX levels, and thereafter the MCX price. Okay. So first, I'm going to start with the COMEX levels. Now, if you see the daily and the weekly chart of gold, on the daily chart, gold is clearly trading weak, and it's trading in a falling channel. So overall, when I say a falling channel, that means the overall trade setup chart structure is bearish because it's in a falling channel. Secondly, it has not yet completed the retracement, the minimum requirement, which is around 38%, 50%. These are the Fibonacci retracement which we look out for. So it has not completed that much of retracement of its previous up move. Okay, so if you just take the minimum retracement of the previous up move, that would be that is of 38.2% of the previous up move, it would come to around 1735 on a conservative side. On an aggressive side, I would say it would be somewhere around $1,700, right? So I think that COMEX gold going forward has a higher probability of falling till 1735 to $1,700. That would be my near-term view for COMEX gold. Now that's for the near term, short term, you can say. Now for the medium to long term, what is my view? From the medium to long term point of view, friends, I think that the rally which started in gold last year, right, it has started a new, absolutely new bull market after almost kind of a decade long bear market in gold and silver, right? And gold managed to make a high of almost $2,070 lifetime high, right? In this pandemic period, there was a lot of buying interest there as well, and the rally which started after almost a decade long consolidation of a bear market, a new bull market is started, is what is my the foremost assumption, right? The previous swing highs have been taken off, so that's also one confirmation on a higher degree on the quarterly yearly charts, right? Now, if you see right from the bottom, from where the gold bottom with a good rounding bottom pattern, good reversal in its long term indicators, trading well above its long-term moving averages. I think this consolidation, the fall which started from 2070 peak until this current prices of 1850, 1830, and what I'm expecting in the near term till 1735 to $1,700, it's a correction in its wave four. Now, what's wave four? So generally markets move in three steps up and two steps back. So total, there are five waves in market, friends. So, the first, third, and fifth are always up. The second and fourth are always down. So right now we are in that fourth wave correction. And after that, what we're going to have is a fifth wave up. Right. So I think in that fifth wave up, in the medium to long term, gold prices are going to take off the previous swing high levels of almost $2,070. So now, if you get a chance, of accumulating gold from here on, and if you strategize that I want to buy with a staggered manner, staggered approach, from 1835, $1850 until 1735 to maybe $1,700 in that 150 points range, if you want to accumulate for the medium to long term target of ours, which is higher than 2070. If you ask me conservatively, then it would be somewhere around 2150, 2200 levels, and maybe 2350, 2400 levels as well for the long term. So these are our targets on the upside. If you accumulate in this range, what should be the stop loss? I think if you accumulated in this range, then your stop loss should be, if you accumulate till $1,700, I think the stop loss should be somewhere around $1,550. Right, so the average will be somewhere around 1775, $1,550 will be your stop loss. Maybe you'll be having a risk of almost 200 to $225. Okay, but your target or the reward from those, that average from 17, 80, 85, maybe until 2150, 2200 levels, so maybe beyond that 2300 levels as well. So you have almost 400 points on the upside, 200 points on the downside. You'll be having a comfortable 1:2 risk reward. And I think, see, there is one more thing, that equities have seen this good amount of up move. It has not yet corrected. Gold and equities both were rallying. Gold made a new high. Nifty made it later on. Gold is correcting. Will Nifty correct as well like gold? I don't know that. As of now, the trend is not has not yet reversed in Nifty, but maybe some point of time going forward, if it does, and if that point of time if gold rallies, then it would be a good hedge for you as well, right? So think from that point of view as well. For the retail people, how do you participate? First of all, you can participate via futures contract. So you can buy maybe this month. Not if you're a short-term trader, then definitely it's looking 100, points down. So you can trade with a stop loss of almost like $19-25 on the upside on the short side for the near term. From the medium long term perspective, I think you can have 2, 3, 4, 3 months forward contracts. You can go long on those contracts and keep rolling till you arrive at a target of almost $2,070 plus, which is a minimum target, 2150 to 2300 levels. So keep rolling over your futures. That's one way. You can definitely buy the physical gold in case you want to have that kind of planning and that kind of an investment. Else, you can always participate via sovereign gold bond as well. Definitely, it has some locking and it has some good period going forward. But then, overall trend for gold for the long term is quite bullish. Even if this 5 year gets over, doesn't mean that gold is going to top out for the long term. Thereafter, it would again be some correction, and then again the next 5 will go up. So this bull market that has started, I think, is going to last for some time. Reason being is the major reason. Now I correlate that with the dollar index. Okay. Now, the dollar index for the long term has topped out. That's how we look at markets as well. You should have this holistic approach. So, dollar index for the long term seems to have topped out. I don't see dollar index now going or taking off highs of almost going even again back to in three digits. It's trading somewhere or hovering around $90 or so. I think for the near term it can fall until $87. It seems to have completed its fourth wave bounce. The fifth wave down has already started, and surprisingly, gold having a good, or I would say rather higher correlation with the dollar index. Until now, gold should have bottomed and should have started its rally, which silver has shown that kind of no sign. Gold has yet not done so. But then maybe there can be a lead and lag. There cannot be that exact correlation. Sometimes it doesn't happen. So, but for the near term, I think that DXY might just fall until 87, $88 on the downside, which could definitely, which will keep favoring the equities for the short term equities as well as this bullions and maybe overall commodities. And for the medium term, I think, Francie, it has formed a double top pattern. DXY, the dollar index, has formed a double top pattern, indicating that for the medium to long term, the dollar index has topped out. I think, even if it bottoms at 87, 88, bounce backs thereafter until 95, 97, wherein we can see that that point of time some profit booking coming in equities as well. So that would be the time, I think, wherein you will have a first hand information or first hand in equities um, when the dollar index will when the dollar um, when the dollar index will when the dollar index will bottom out. So at that point of time we'll come to know that. So what I'm like to say is that 75 to $70 is the long term target for dollar index. Until it doesn't reach to 75 to $70, the overall trend in the long term for equities and dollar bullions, maybe for that matter all the metals, or maybe commodities, is going to be um, bullish. It's going to be an inflationary period. Okay? Generally, this happens, friends, that whenever you have this, fall in the DXY, you get this inflationary period or a growth period, and that's what is witnessed as well, in the markets. And we would see going forward the inflation basically coming back into the market. Still there are no such confirmation. Maybe if you are looking at the inflation numbers and it's still at the low levels at around 4% or so, maybe and if you see the IP data in fact improving from -2% to plus positive 1%, which is good for the economy. And till then we don't see interest rate reversing. But then if we are expecting that kind of a growth going forward, and if the budget is also in the lines with pro growth and everything, I think going forward interest rates would also rise. So my stance is that there is a very high probability that interest rate might just consolidate at these levels, as in in the last RBI monetary policy there was a status quo maintained. That will continue. They did say that they would be still accommodative, but I don't think so. There would be any scope now going forward for the RBI, maybe to lower the interest rate. Maybe it will just consolidate, saying that we will be accommodative to keep the positive sentiment in the economy. But then I think personally, and based on all of this data, that maybe for the short term, the interest rate cycle might have just bottomed out, and we will see there's the bounce back coming in, right? So that's also some, you come to know, about the economic cycle as well. Interest rate cycles based on this currency moves, commodity moves, whether inflationary moves or not. Generally, when the XY goes up, it's generally recessionary or maybe deflationary period. So that's not the case right now. So obviously, if you want to see that kind of growth coming in and growth in all the asset class, then definitely is going to lead to inflationary period going forward. That's also one thing which is, and that would definitely help equity markets. Inflation always help equity markets to move higher, right? Now, coming to the, I would say rather the actual prices of gold in MCX. Now, personally what I feel is that, friends, as far as in MCX prices, gold is likely to in fact fall maybe till the levels of if you see in the rupee terms, then maybe it should bottom somewhere around say 46,000, maybe is a level to watch out for. If it comes down to those levels, 46,000, it would be a great buying opportunity. I don't see gold going below the levels of 43, 44,000 going forward. That should be the ideal stop loss. But at least it can fall to 46 on the upside. I would say that 48,500 would be a crucial resistance now in the short term. And thereafter, I would see that once it surpasses 2070 to maybe 2100 levels, gold will again make a lifetime high. Maybe it will again inch above the 60,000 levels. Okay, so that's all from DXY and gold. Now, since I've already discussed so much on DXY, then let me also jump on USD INR now, rather than going to silver. Let me jump on USD and discuss more about that, because I've already explained and given you already a good amount of update on DXY. So let us just focus on USD INR. Now, friends, if you look at the USD INR, then what's happening is currently, the spot is trading at around 72.80s, 73, right? It's been trading around those levels. The only thing is that if you look at the momentum indicators, they are quite oversold right now. If you look at the momentum indicators on the weekly charts, they're quite oversold. If you look at the momentum indicators on the daily charts, and also what I see is that they are quite oversold. But then, interestingly, what has happened is USD INR has again reversed on the zero reference line, indicating that the way the currency has been falling in a downward sloping parallel channel, the probability of DX USD INR further appreciation, weakening. I mean, whether rupee will be strengthening against the dollar, that means that USD INR will be weakening, because USD INR में USD तो numerator में है, right? So I think that it can fall to the levels of maybe 72 to 71.80. 72 to 71.80 should be the near term target till we see 89 to 88 or maybe 87 levels coming on DXY. USD INR should appreciate. I mean, INR should appreciate and USD INR should fall till 72 to 71.80 levels. So we still have a room of at least 1% on the downside, wherein it should favor the equity markets, right? And this is one reason why the gold and silver prices will fall even more. See, what happens is when your INR is appreciating and the COMEX gold and silver prices are also falling, right? So definitely you will be having a double impact on the MCX prices of the gold, right? Now let me just give you the resistance on the upside. See, now the resistance on the upside is somewhere around 73.50. 73.50 for this expiry, at least for the February expiry, seems to be a crucial resistance. Till 73.50 levels are not taken off, the chances that USD INR further weakens till 72 to 71.8 is quite high. So that's an update on USD INR as well. But there's not much of kind of trade left now on the short side out here, right? And once this leg is over, I'm very much sure that there's very high probability that DXY reverses, USD INR reverses, and with that, all the other asset classes are likely to reverse. Now, let me come to silver, friends. Now, as well as if you're looking at the dollar terms in silver, then what's happening is silver is outperforming now the gold, and the silver to gold to silver ratio basically, wherein I think it's coming down, and maybe because of silver actually outperforming the gold, sort of cup and handle pattern has been formed on silver on the COMEX charts. On the upside, somewhere around $30 is a very very crucial resistance for silver. Now, see the entire move on silver, right from the levels of 21, $22 until $30 approximately, is not an impulsive move. It's a clear corrective move. So for silver to take off $30 is going to be a task. If it does, it will be a trade for at least this month. If it provides a breakout next month, it's going to be a trade of March. हम बोलेंगे मार्च का दमदार ट्रेड, हम ऐसा कुछ बोल भी सकते हैं. अगर वो मार्च में if it takes off $30 ना, so March का marvelous trade, you can name it whatever you want. I mean, I'm sure that once it takes off $30 is going to be a sharp short covering led rally coming in silver, and which can also thereafter get converted into a strong long side, or maybe or trade. Thereafter, you can see the levels of almost $35 to $40. It's quick move of 20, 25%, 30% on silver coming on. But it should take off $30 for that sake. Now, if it happens, sure, there will be a long trade, and we'll be definitely letting you know as well. We'll bring you an update, maybe if it happens on not on a Tuesday, on Wednesday or Thursday, we'll keep a special session for it and we'll tell you. Because it's going to be a big trade, because going about $30, breaking of this $10 range, I mean, it's going to be a big trade. I mean, it can be a trade of the quarter as well. But if it doesn't happen, so it might just consolidate within this range of $20 to $30, and it's a huge range. So for me, silver is not as favoring as good risk reward as it is favored in gold. I would say rather trading range, definitely, because the risk reward is absolutely in favor in gold, because you have those short term range is very short. Here the short term near term range is huge. I mean, it's $20, $21 on the downside to maybe 30, 28, $30 on the upside. Percentage wise is huge, almost like 40 to 50%. So I would say that for silver, the silver bulls should or can continue holding their long positions mainly, but then they should have a stop loss, and that stop loss on the COMEX level would be somewhere around, say, on the downside, $24.80. If that breaks, I mean, it will again fall till $20. So there's no point, holding silver for so long if it breaks 24.80, and if it takes off 30 silver bulls, you can buy more, okay, and you can aggressively buy more. Now let me come, silver basically, in MCX terms, so as far as MCX is concerned, let me just give you a range. On the downside, I feel that, somewhere around 67,000 is a very crucial support. Till those levels are held, maybe, you can see some consolidation happening till 72,000 on the upside. And if 67,000 breaks, I feel that it will fall till 60,000. 60,000 हो जाएगा अगर 67,000 break होता है. Now on the upside, friends, I would like to say that if it manages to take off the levels of almost 75,000, then only you will see a sharp spurt in coming in silver, which will take it above maybe 83, 84,000. 75,000 के ऊपर जाता है तो सिल्वर खरीदना है बहुत तेजी से. अदरवाइज आप ये जो ट्रेडिंग रेंज है 75 से लेके 67 का, उसी में आप ट्रेड करते रहिए. आज समय का थोड़ा कमी है फ्रेंड्स. हमने टाइम पे तो शुरू कर दिया था, बट मैंने जैसे कहा था कि हम शॉर्ट रखेंगे आज. सो मैंने गोल्ड कवर किया, सिल्वर कवर किया, DXY कवर किया, करेंसी कवर किया. ठीक है, तो मैं आपको एक समराइज करके दे देता हूँ, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. अच्छा, अंसार खलीफा जी बोल रहे हैं कि बैंक निफ्टी. अच्छा ठीक है, लास्ट में आपको निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी बता दूंगा अंसार. पर आपको मैं ये बता देता हूँ कि देखिए, मेरा ध्यान ब्रॉडली ये है कि नियर टर्म में सिल्वर गोल्ड में कंसोलिडेशन से वीकनेस रहेगा. मीडियम टू लॉन्ग टर्म में मैं बुलियंस में बुलिश हूँ. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि बहुत ही बड़ा एक बुल मार्केट वहां पे भी स्टार्ट हुआ है, एंड वो कंटिन्यू रहेगा काफी. तो अगर आपका मीडियम टू लॉन्ग टर्म है व्यू, डाइवर्सिफिकेशन कीजिए गोल्ड सिल्वर में भी. आप आपके पोर्टफोलियो में से कुछ, पोर्टफोलियो एलोकेशन थोड़ा वहां पे भी होना चाहिए. आप इसमें इंटरेस्ट रखिए, छोड़िएगा मत. ये बुल मार्केट जो वहां पे भी बड़ा चालू हुआ है, ठीक है ना. आप अक्यूमुलेट कीजिए, आप स्ट्रेटेजाइज कीजिए, आपको कैसे करना है. मैंने आपको लेवल्स बताया. मैं इसलिए काफी कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ बिकॉज मुझे कन्विक्शन जो डॉलर इंडेक्स पे है, ये लॉन्ग टर्म बेयर मार्केट में आ गया है. मीडियम टर्म बुल मार्केट में आ सकता है, शॉर्ट टर्म बाउंस आ सकता है, बट लॉन्ग टर्म बेयर मार्केट में है. हिस्टोरिकली मैंने देख लिया पूरा, एंड पूरा मैंने कोरिलेशन देखा हुआ है, बहुत ही हाईली कोरिलेटेड है सारे एसेट क्लासेस एंड DXY. तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि इक्विटीज, बुलियंस, कमोडिटीज में ये इन्फ्लेशनरी पीरियड जो स्टार्ट हुआ है उसमें DXY उल्टा हो जाएगा. ये सबको फेवर करेगा, जो करेंसी डॉलर वीक होगा उसको. एंड तो आप तेजी में ही रहिए फॉर नेक्स्ट 2-3 years इन ऑल दीज एसेट क्लासेस. और ये जो शॉर्ट टर्म करेक्शंस आए उसमें आप अक्यूमुलेट कीजिए, जो अभी आ रहे हैं, सो यू शुड टेक बेनिफिट आउट ऑफ इट. इन्फ्लेशनरी पीरियड रहेगा तो आप इतना मत समझिए कि बहुत इन्फ्लेशन रेट, अभी आपका इंटरेस्ट रेट बहुत नीचे रहने वाला है. कभी भी साइकिल टर्न हो जाएगा 3-6 महीना के बाद, कभी भी ज्यादा कुछ गिरने नहीं वाला है यहाँ से. कोई 6%, 5% नहीं आने वाला है अभी ज्यादा, इज व्हाट आई फील. प्रो ग्रोथ में हमेशा ऐसा ही होता है. एंड लास्टली निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी पे मैं रिव्यू दे देता हूँ. मेरा ये मानना है, जो हमारे हमने बताया था आपको कि 15,500 के टारगेट और ऑलमोस्ट 15,400 के ऊपर निफ्टी आ गया हमारे लास्ट यूट्यूब लाइव सेशन से. सो ऑलमोस्ट हमारे टारगेट्स वहां पे अचीव हुए, राइट. बैंक निफ्टी में हमने कहा था कि 37,000 और आप लीजिए, इसके ऊपर तो आपको लेना है 36,400 के ऊपर वगैरह. सारे टारगेट्स ऑलमोस्ट वहां पे आ गए. तो हमारे निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी के सारे शॉर्ट टर्म टारगेट आ गए. अब यहाँ से क्या करना है, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है बैंक निफ्टी में आप देखिए 36,500 का लेवल, वीकली पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आपको बता रहा हूँ 36,500. जब तक वो होल्ड कर रहा है, ठीक है, आपको ऊपर में 37,900, 38 के लेवल दिखेंगे. 36,500 ब्रेक होता है, शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेंड रिवर्स हो जाएगा. 36,500 के नीचे फिर से 35,500 आ सकता है. तो 36,500 आपका एक, मैं कहूंगा शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए बहुत ही अच्छा सपोर्ट है. वो जब तक होल्ड कर रहा है, तेजी में रह सकते हैं आप. एंड डिप्स को यूटिलाइज कीजिए बाइंग के लिए. लेवल्स में जैसे मैंने बताया 37,900, 38 हो सकता है. निफ्टी का जहां तक सवाल है, 15,500 ही बड़ा लेवल है दोस्तों. सो मैं कहूंगा 15,200 एक बहुत ही अहम लेवल है. जब तक 15,200 के ऊपर निफ्टी है, 15,500 हो सकता है. सो 15,200 जब तक मेंटेन कर रहा है, आप शॉर्ट टर्म में तेजी में रह सकते हैं. ये मैं इन कल के लेवल्स नहीं दे रहा हूँ, क्योंकि यूट्यूब लाइव सेशन हम हर मंगलवार को करते हैं, तो वो हिसाब से मैं आपको एक अच्छा पोजिशनल लेवल्स मैंने आपको बता दिया. एंड टचवुड ये भी हो रहा है कि जब से हमने यूट्यूब लाइव सेशन चालू किया, 13,000 पे हमने स्टार्ट किया था, तब से हम तेजी में अभी तक एक भी बार मंदी में गए नहीं है. इनफैक्ट तब इतना बाजार गिरा था जोर से, और हमने हमेशा कन्विक्शन के साथ कहा है कि मार्केट में खरीदिए, ट्रेंड अभी भी पॉजिटिव है, चाहे वो बजट के पहले हो या तो दिसंबर में जो बड़ा फॉल आया था, एक ही दिन में निफ्टी 600 पॉइंट गिरा था तभी हो, और जब से हम तेजी में 13,000 से निफ्टी को हम तेजी करते आ रहे हैं, 15% का टारगेट था, सब हो गया. So I hope that you all have benefited, and going forward also we'll be definitely trying, definitely trying to come out with this kind of research with you, sharing these ideas with you. Right? That's all from my side. Keep joining our YouTube live sessions going ahead as well. Thank you so much.